Hello. I hope that this message finds you safe and in good health. Today is the first day of our amended course schedule. So in this video, I'm going to first go over the broader changes of the course, and second, go over the final assignment that will take the place of the regularly scheduled course assignments. Before we get into details, I want to encourage you all to be gentle with yourselves as you complete your courses for this semester. Given the extraordinary challenges that we are facing, it is important that you first take care of yourself and make sure that your loved ones are healthy and safe. Please keep me posted on any challenges you might experience over the next few weeks, as I'm willing to make accommodations based on individual needs. In terms of the course for this semester, we will continue this class as an online course through asynchronous communication. By asynchronous communication, this means the information will be transmitted intermittently and not according to our original course meeting time. This means that you set the time to complete the remaining course materials and activities on a time that works best for you. The remaining course materials are designed for you to spend the allotted 160 minutes a week, twice a week, according to our original contact hours, along with the outside course hours you spend on writing and reading for this course. In terms of my availability for the course, I will be available via email, Zoom, Google Hangout, and by phone. In terms of Zoom, I'm going to set up an optional Zoom meeting on Thursday that will be an open forum for you to ask questions about the course materials. Depending on the participation and the need for those optional Zoom meetings, I'll continue those meetings, those optional meetings on Tuesdays and Thursdays during our course meeting times. Again, these will be optional meetings that will work as a forum for you to pose questions about the course material. Along with optional Zoom meetings, I will also hold regularly scheduled office hours via Zoom by appointments between 4 to 6 on my designated office hours, which are Tuesdays and Thursdays. Anything outside of that, please send me an email to set up an appointment, again, either using Zoom, Google Hangout, the phone, or getting in contact with me through email. In terms of the assignment changes, to finish this course, we will merge the information that we analyzed from the cultural problem analysis with an amended version of the cultural problem proposal into what will be called the cultural problem product research assignment. The cultural problem product research assignment will take the place of the remaining assignments this semester. So I want you to review the cultural problem product research assignment sheet for the details, and I will go over those details in a little bit. This assignment sheet will be located in Sakai under the assignments, and I've also included a link to this assignment sheet in the email. The revisions of this assignment will still allow you to maintain the original inquiry into your chosen cultural problem and conduct research appropriate for the current social moment. In terms of your participation and attendance grade for this semester, it'll be based on the submission of your cultural problem product research assignment rough draft and the participation in the peer review workshop for the cultural problem product assignment. And I will spell out or explain all of that schedule in the sheet that in the Google Doc that you received in the email, and I'll talk through that in just a second. So to bring everything together, as you know, this course was geared toward the social science discipline. The original course assignments were designed for a face-to-face class setting as the context for you to develop and test your research by interacting with human social groups. As a result of the current social moment, many of you will be severely limited in attempts to collect data using surveys, focus groups, and firsthand experience. Additionally, the current social moment will also present a challenge in terms of developing a cultural problem campaign or some of our original assignments, which required social interaction, which required you to get out into the public and test your results. So in response to these constraints, the new assignment, which is the cultural problem product research assignment, will be a merging of all of the leftover assignments, and it will reflect the knowledge you learned in compiling a review of the literature and allow you to apply this knowledge to an analysis of social institutions and organizations connected to your social problem. So over the next week, you will amend your writing for this class by sticking to an analysis of the social institutions that produce the policies, legislation, news articles, and other forms of media that are connected to your social problem. So in this case, you'll be able to do your research from the comfort of your own home. And in terms of your methods to your research, you will be analyzing either legislation, policies, news articles, or other forms of media that are connected to your social problem. So if you look at the revised schedule, you'll notice that I've updated the grading assignment breakdowns and due dates. The cultural problem analysis will now be worth 40% of your grade. I thank you for being patient with me about getting your grades back for the cultural problem analysis. Because of the current situation, I've graded everything and I've given you feedback, but because of the situation and because of the changes, I need to do that all over again because my feedback was based on an old model. So the new feedback is going to be based on moving you forward to the cultural problem research assignment, which will be worth another 40% of your grade. So we have the cultural problem analysis, which those grades are coming, which would be 40%, the cultural problem product research assignment, which would be another 40%, and finally the participation and attendance grade will be 20%. For this week, so we have about 4 weeks before the end of the semester. This first week, all I want you to do is read the course materials, create a plan to transfer what you have into the new framework for the cultural problem product research assignment. Wrap your brain around what's going on, get used to the new changes, and ask me questions. Like I said, this first week, I'll set up some time, an optional Zoom meeting on Thursday during your class meeting time, so that if you want to join that meeting, you can ask questions or pose any concerns that you might be having about moving forward. Week 2, which will span between March 30th and April 5th, you will continue to work on the cultural problem product research assignment and also get feedback from me. Week 3, which is April 6th through April 13th, you will post your draft you'll post a rough draft of the cultural problem product research assignment on your blog site no later than 11:59 p.m. and you'll post that draft on April 6th no later than 11:59 p.m. because we're going to use week 3, April 6th through April 13th to revise your rough draft, and we'll practice some of the revision strategies that we've been dealing with or that we've been practicing earlier in the semester. During this week, which is week 3, between April 6th and April 13th, we will also do a peer review workshop. So you'll get feedback from me, you'll get feedback from your peers, and you'll have a chance to revise that draft for week 4, which is April 13th through the 24th. And during week 4, we're going to practice some editing strategies, and then you will submit the final draft of your cultural problem product research paper no later than 11:59 p.m. on April 24th. So let's talk a little bit about the cultural problem product research assignment. So like I said, this paper is going to be due on April 24th, which is the last day of class. For this assignment, you will develop a thesis statement that addresses your cultural problem. To support your thesis statement, you will analyze at least one cultural product from one social institution or organization that is connected to your cultural problem. So examples of social institutions include universities, religious organizations, nonprofit or for-profit groups, social movement groups, education organizations, entertainment groups, corporations, governmental bodies, philanthropy groups, environmental organizations, or social justice groups. And it's not limited to that list. Forms of cultural products include policies, campaigns, films, news articles, podcasts, blogs, education programs and curricula, legislation, documentaries, demonstrations, demands, initiatives, and outreach programs. So these sort of things, like the cultural products, like the policies, the campaigns, these are the things that are produced within these social institutions which have an impact on society. So for this paper, you are going to analyze a minimum of 1 to 3, or a minimum of 1, maximum 3 products that are produced within these institutions that are connected to your cultural problem. And you will create a thesis statement that communicates to your reader how an analysis of this cultural product that's produced within this social institution, what does that reveal about the cultural problem that you are currently researching? So when you look at the rhetorical situation, you'll notice that the rhetorical situation for this assignment is pretty much the same with slight differences in the purpose. For instance, your role as a student researcher in the social sciences is the same. Your audience is the same. It will be readers who are concerned with your cultural problem. The purpose is going to change in the sense that the purpose of this assignment is for you to examine how social institutions produce cultural products that either contribute to or mitigate the cultural problem that you've been researching. And finally, the genre of writing that we will be conducting for this final assignment will be thesis driven. So when you go over the assignment sheet for this assignment, I want you to pay close attention to my description of the sections, because when you understand those sections, you'll be able to take what you're researching in the current research you continue to produce and plug in that information within those sections. So let's talk briefly about the introduction. The most important part of the introduction, and perhaps the most important part of not only the introduction in the entire paper, is your thesis statement. Again, this is a thesis-driven paper. Your thesis statement will convey to your reader what an analysis of the products produced within these social institutions reveal about your cultural problem and what you are going to examine in your paper. So, for in the actual assignment sheet, I have provided a sample template that will help you construct your thesis statement. Because writing is recursive, you'll notice that you'll probably need to work with this template at the beginning of your writing process, during your writing process, and you'll find yourself probably refining this thesis statement after you have written pretty much most of the draft. So the sample template illustrates, I have some blanks that you'll fill in according to your cultural problem. So for instance, an analysis of blank within the social institution reveals blank about the cultural problem. Because. So say for instance you are dealing with your cultural problem of education and equity. You might say an analysis of this diversity policy within the institution of UNC Chapel Hill reveals that diversity policies don't account for class difference because references to inclusion don't consider social economic income. So that thesis statement sets the reader up for an analysis of diversity statements at Chapel Hill, and that person, anything that's coming after that, because that person is going to analyze the lack of social economic issues, the lack of that in the actual diversity statement. So the following sections will support your thesis statement in different ways. For example, the review of the literature will provide the rationale for your research and will create the need for the claim you are making in your thesis statement. So coming back to that original example of education and equity, your review of the literature will review the broader sort of conversation about what scholars, about what academics are saying about your cultural problem, which might be education and equity. And then you will use this information to basically give the rationale for the research that you are going to contribute. The methods section will communicate to the reader what and how you will analyze the cultural product to support your thesis statement. So, coming back to the example of education and equity as a cultural problem, in your methods section, you will communicate to the reader that in your methods, you are going to compile research on actual diversity policies that are connected to University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. And you'll tell your reader in your methods section how how you've gathered those policies, whether you've gone online, you've looked at the equity office, you've gone to different organizations within the institution, found their diversity policies, and then in the methods section, you'll also describe to your reader what it is that you're actually going to analyze. And in this case, it might be this mention of socioeconomic class within diversity policies. So in your methods section, you will communicate to your reader what you're going to analyze, how you're going to analyze it, and what you hope to reveal through an analysis of, and how that analysis is going to come back to your thesis statement. The actual data analysis section will illustrate what you include in the blank after because. So like I said before, if you are saying that I'm going to I'm going to take diversity policies and analyze all the references to socioeconomic income in diversity policies, this is the thing that you're actually going to break down in your data analysis. So in the data analysis, you're going to break down the actual object of analysis, the cultural product that you're studying, and you're going to tell the reader how an analysis of this product supports your thesis statement. So you're going to be doing a little bit of analysis, the breaking down, the analyzing of the cultural product, which is the policy, the piece of legislation, the collection of films, the podcast that's produced by the social institution, and then you're going to be doing some synthesis from breaking that down. You're going to be telling your reader how the analysis of this cultural product, how that comes back and reinforces your thesis statement. And finally, the conclusion section will tie everything together and discuss the so what of your thesis statement and make final recommendations for further research. So below, I have included a detailed breakdown of each section. I want you to go over those sections on your own and then pose any questions that you might have or any concerns that you might have in regards to taking the research that you have at this point and transferring that into this particular framework. So notice on the assignment sheet, I have the review of the literature, methods section, data analysis, and conclusions and implications. As always, the grading rubric will stick to the four main sections or the four main aspects of the paper, which are connected to the content, organization, style, and conventions. Just to note on the conventions in terms of the specific requirements of this paper, for this paper you will compile a minimum of 7 pages, double-spaced, Time New Roman format. You will have at least 5 sources, and at least 3 of these 5 sources will be academic sources. And you are going to write this paper according to either Modern Language Association, APA, or Chicago Manual Style format. And again, this paper will be due on April 24th, 2020. So that's pretty much your main assignment that you will need to compose for the rest of the semester. Like I said before, we're going to spend these next 4 weeks transferring our current research into the new assignment, getting feedback on the rough draft of our new assignment, and then you'll have an opportunity to revise your final assignment. In terms of grades, again, in terms of grades for your cultural problem analysis, please sit tight. I'm going to update those grades and update the current feedback. Like I said before, due to the current situation, I've withheld those grades because the feedback that I was giving you was under the old model for the class. So I need to go back and revise a lot of the feedback that I've given you. So I continue to I appreciate your continued patience with me. I don't usually take this long to give grades back, but please continue to be patient with me in getting your grades back for your cultural problem analysis, as I have to make changes according to the new course schedule. Other than that, that's pretty much all I need to cover for right now. Over the course of the next week or so, or maybe 2 weeks, I'm going to check back in, conduct a new video or produce a new video that's going to explain our workshopping process in terms of us creating working on our new assignment. In the meantime, for this week, I want you to focus on making sure that you understand what's going on. Give you this opportunity to breathe, wrap your brain around things, and ask any questions. And so by the time we get to March 30th, you'll feel confident and sure on a plan and a strategy on how to execute this final paper. In the meantime, like I said, I will be around if you have any questions or concerns, or if you have any updates for me in relation to you completing your task. Other than that, good luck, happy reading, and happy writing, and I'll see you in cyberspace.